Long before a woman utters her first word, everything has been revealed. Her physical form has communicated, her aura has resonated, and her existence has disclosed what her consciousness has yet to acknowledge. The error most men commit lies not in their listening, but in their failure to observe, for while they hunt for clear indicators, the genuine communications have already been transmitted through stance, through respiration, through visual connection. Physical expression is not an instrument of attraction, it is her most authentic voice. Imagine entering a space, silence prevails. She remains wordless, yet you instantly sense whether tension, intrigue, or longing exists. Through what means? Through her physical form. Through the subtle rotation in your direction, the purposeless smoothing of her locks, the calculated duration of eye contact that persists. Most men remain oblivious to this. They become captivated by language, by cosmetics, by superficiality. Yet reality conceals itself in subtlety, in that fraction of time when she falls silent and watches, in that instant when her respiration transforms. This is not coincidental, it is primal, for a woman does not express herself through rational thought, she expresses herself through existence. Carl Jung declared the physical form is the perceptible reflection of consciousness, and in the female instance, that reflection communicates even when her voice remains silent. Every positioning of her limbs, every angle of her skull, every wordless movement is a concealed admission, and if you possess the ability to perceive, you comprehend everything. Yet perception alone proves insufficient. You must exist in the moment, completely, profoundly present. For feminine physical expression is not deciphered with vision, it is sensed with gut feeling, identified through quietness. You are not analyzing actions, you are analyzing motivations, and that is where the genuine challenge commences. Since time immemorial, women have mastered concealing their longing behind representations. She refrains from declaring it, she implies it, she avoids stating it, she insinuates it, and she operates this way because what holds worth is never freely given. It is examined, so if you await her verbal confirmation, you have already been defeated. For she has already demonstrated it, and if you cannot perceive it, you lack readiness to participate. Attraction initiates before visual connection, before the expression of pleasure. It initiates in the manner she selects to display herself to the world when you exist nearby, in the force her physical form releases the instant you pass her vicinity. For even the most motionless feminine form transmits, even quietness vocalizes. Have you registered the instant she transfers her mass from one limb to the other? Or how she grasps her beverage with dual hands while absorbing your words? These movements are not arbitrary. They are primal microsignals encoded across millennia of development to shield and to draw in. A woman can fabricate numerous things, an expression of amusement, a statement, an expression of pleasure, yet she cannot fabricate what her physical form experiences because the form does not deceive. And when you master reading it, you discover a harsh reality. Most men exist without sight. They perceive the structure, yet not the profundity. They respond to the evident and disregard the imperceptible. They concentrate on what she verbalizes and not on the manner of verbalization. Yet the solution exists there, in what she does not articulate, in the strain accumulated in her upper body, in the orientation of her lower extremities, in the pace of her optical reflexes. A woman's physical form broadcasts a communication perpetually, not solely regarding you, but regarding herself, regarding her self-worth, her assurance, her longing. Were you aware that the manner a woman smooths her locks discloses whether she experiences confidence or nervousness? Or that repeatedly revealing her throat region signifies willing fragility? This is where the challenge becomes intricately layered. Occasionally, a woman is not attempting to attract, she is calculating. She is calculating your response, your constancy, your existence. Not every movement is an offer, some are examinations. Are you interpreting accurately, or are you imposing your personal longings onto her communications? Physical expression is correspondence without an enclosure, a volume without binding. If you possess reading ability, you access a realm most individuals never attain. And that does not render you exploitative, it renders you conscious. For you are not compelling anything, you are registering what already exists. You are witnessing what she unconsciously desires you to witness. Yet exercise caution. Witnessing is not implementation. Witnessing is not transgression. Witnessing is simply acknowledgement. Acknowledging that behind an unrestricted stance exists an unrestricted consciousness. Acknowledging that an extended visual connection is not perpetually longing, yet it is perpetually purpose. For every sustained observation carries an inquiry. And if you lack the knowledge to respond without verbalizing, you will never comprehend the genuine challenge. Men who command the interpretation of feminine physical expression do not pursue acceptance. They require no expression of pleasure as compensation. They interpret and determine, analyze, and adjust. For they comprehend that every movement is an examination, not a guarantee. Every advance a connection, not authorization. And in that equilibrium between witnessing and implementation, genuine authority is constructed. This is the initial teaching. If you desire to comprehend feminine longing, do not anticipate language. Master reading physical forms. Master perceiving when nobody else perceives. For the most influential mysteries are never vocalized, they are murmured. And the physical form murmurs perpetually. Feminine physical expression is not a display. It is not a platform adorned with deliberate movements. It is something more profound, more primitive, more intensely genuine biology in operation, primal configuration that operates without the authorization of the aware consciousness. When a woman gradually positions her limbs, contacts her throat region, or presses her lower lip, she is not performing. She is following millions of years of development. Everything she executes, even unconsciously, possesses origins embedded in environmental adaptation. The feminine form was constructed to transmit without language, to assess, and to shield itself. And in that mechanism, it dispatches indicators, occasionally paradoxical, occasionally transparent, that solely the observant can translate. This is not regarding interpreting a sequence. It is regarding sensing the purpose concealed beneath each movement. Most men presume comprehending a woman involves flawless statements and practiced expressions. What they neglect is that before you vocalize, she has already interpreted you. She has examined your stance, your force, your emotional regulation, and has generated a response you may never register. Developmental psychologists like David Buss have demonstrated that numerous feminine behaviors possess adaptive foundations. They matured in elevated risk circumstances where a woman had to draw in without revealing herself, assess without announcing herself, and attract without vocalizing. Her physical expression became detection equipment, a method to examine, choose, and dismiss possibilities. That is why most feminine indicators hold a dual purpose: draw in and shield. A lowered neckline does not perpetually transmit accessibility. Occasionally it is protection meant to discourage the inadequate. An expression of pleasure can offer or it can preserve regulation. And in that intricate movement between attraction and protection, the man who does not comprehend is removed. The feminine gut feeling does not pursue rational thought. It pursues consistency. She may absorb what you vocalize, yet she responds to how you vocalize it. You may attempt to impact her with a narrative, yet if your upper body descends or your vocalization wavers, her physical form identifies the inconsistency, and in that fraction attraction evaporates. To her, you are a resonance, a force, a domain of data her unconscious assesses in fractions of seconds. Are you balanced? Are you in regulation? Is your force burdensome, dispersed, or constant? She registers all of this before you complete your initial statement, and if something does not align, her physical form responds with separation, even if her voice states the contrary. This is where Machiavelli enters the scenario. Machiavelli did not compose about women. Yet he composed about recognition, authority, and tactics. An attraction is precisely that: a wordless conflict of recognitions, an emotional negotiation where the one who comprehends the imperceptible indicators possesses the authority. Machiavelli instructed that authority is not announced, it is transmitted. The one who controls the circumstance does not require verbalization. His existence states everything. In the challenge of attraction, this becomes elementary. A woman does not respond to the one who attempts. She responds to the one who exists. She does not pursue the man who pursues acceptance. She pursues the one whose tranquility dissolves her protections. And that tranquility, that Emotional self-regulation under feminine stimulus is the contemporary interpretation of the ruler who declines to respond to incitement. The most frequent error men commit is presuming that increased implementation means increased attraction. Yet, in feminine physical expression, frequently reduction is increase. She does not respond to the man who forces, she responds to the man who restrains. She does not respond to the one who operates, yet to the one who is in regulation. And that is not coincidental, it is emotional preservation. Feminine longing is not generated in disturbance, yet in cadence. In the protection you transmit when you do not accelerate the instant, in the interval you establish before responding, in the area you provide her so she can experience without experiencing constraint. When a woman smooths her locks, inclines slightly, positions her ankles, or reduces her vocalization, she is stating something, not with language, yet with gut feeling. And if you respond from your rational consciousness, you are participating the incorrect challenge. Yet if you respond from your balance, from your respiration, from your force, something in her initiates, for you are not vocalizing to her rationality, you are vocalizing to her limbic mechanism, where emotion, threat, and longing reside. That is where genuine magnetism is produced. And if you possess the knowledge to operate in that realm without language, you access a domain most men will never uncover. That is the genuine challenge. She is not anticipating you to persuade her. She is anticipating you to impact her, for your existence alone to transform her force, without you stating anything. For your quietness to be not vacant, yet substantial, for your tranquility to be not inactivity, yet control. And that cannot be fabricated. This is why the preparation is not external. It is not regarding memorizing expressions or replicating movements. It is internal. It is laboring on your respiration, your stance, your visual connection, your purpose. For if your physical form is not synchronized with your communication, she will sense it. Her gut feeling identifies everything. And when that occurs, she separates. Attraction is not a performance. It is a condition. It is not regarding conducting differently. It is regarding existing differently, regarding returning to the physical form, reconnecting with your bodily existence. For while everyone else competes for focus, the genuinely magnetic man does not compete. He draws in. Not because he exploits, yet because he radiates consistency. And that consistency is what the feminine gut feeling honors most, beyond your physique, beyond your garments, beyond your language. What genuinely impacts her is your imperceptible regulation. That unspoken dialect that does not request, yet declares. That wordless force that vocalizes without producing sound. And when that occurs, she responds. Not with rational thought, yet with her physical form. The most significant error of the contemporary man is not that he lacks the knowledge to vocalize. It is that he lacks the knowledge to remain wordless. He vocalizes excessively, clarifies excessively, responds to every movement, every observation, every expression of pleasure as if they were validations. Yet a woman's physical form does not authenticate, it scrutinizes. It does not sanction, it assesses. And if you do not comprehend this, you become a responsive man, and a responsive man is a man without authority. When she displays pleasure, he over-responds with passion. When she contacts his limb, he becomes optimistic. And when she withdraws, he becomes agitated. He exists according to what she executes instead of remaining in his balance. That is the snare. She is not authenticating you. She is examining you. For the genuine examination is not whether you respond favorably. It is whether you can select not to respond. A woman can appear engaged and not exist. She can appear remote and still desire you. For the feminine physical form does not perpetually function from longing, it frequently functions from tactics. And feminine tactics is to witness, calculate, destabilize whoever is not balanced. It is a movement of stimuli where what matters is not the action you establish, yet the orientation you preserve. Do you desire to know why you forfeit polarity? For every time she dispatches an unclear indicator, you forfeit regulation. You cease respiration, you incline excessively. You initiate vocalizing continuously, you attempt to secure her. And the instant you execute that, you have already forfeited, for you have become someone who pursues acceptance. And feminine longing does not initiate through requirement. It initiates through magnetism. Masculine magnetism is generated from the balance, from that component of you that does not operate even when everything surrounding you executes, that does not attempt to persuade, that possesses its existence even when challenged. She does not require you to inform her you desire her. She already possesses knowledge, she senses it. Yet she is anticipating to perceive if you can restrain longing without forfeiting your balance. That is the critical error. Presuming she is selecting you, when in reality she is calculating you. For every woman possesses two mechanisms, one rational and one emotional. The initial absorbs your language. The subsequent watches your movements. And if inconsistency exists between what you vocalize and what you transmit, the subsequent one perpetually succeeds. She does not long for what she comprehends, she longs for what renders her experience. And if you respond with excessive emotion, if you attempt to satisfy, if you surrender your structure, you disclose that you cannot even restrain your personal longing. So how will you restrain hers? Instead of transmitting certainty, you transmit uncertainty. Instead of possessing strain, you discharge it. And the feminine does not respond to alleviation, it responds to regulated intensity, to tranquility in the center of constraint, to emotional neutrality when she dispatches an incitement. That is what draws her in. Not passion, not praise, not haste. What draws her in is perceiving that she can render you experience without rendering you descend, that she can examine you without fracturing you. For that is where she experiences protection, not when you long for her, yet when you can long for her without pursuing her. This is why every expression of pleasure is not an offering, it is an inquiry. Every contact is not compensation, it is an assessment. Every quietness is not dismissal, it is an examination of your capacity to possess discomfort without forfeiting your force. And if you succeed in that examination, longing is not fabricated, it emerges. Numerous men fail not because they lack attraction, yet because they possess excessive requirement. They vocalize rapidly, express amusement nervously, attempt to be appreciated, and she registers because her physical form reflects yours. If you are strained, she secures. If you are apprehensive, she freezes because her nervous mechanism is perpetually pursuing an emotional benchmark stronger and more constant than herself. And if you are not that benchmark, she separates. Masculine authority is not regarding regulating the woman, it is regarding not forfeiting regulation in her presence. It is possessing your structure even when she challenges it. It is vocalizing minimally, observing firmly, respiring profoundly, and justifying nothing. For the man who does not require to clarify himself becomes an enigma, and enigma is irresistible. Register this. Every emotional response you possess is an admission of instability, of uncontrolled longing, of concealed acceptance pursuit. And feminine longing does not access for admissions, it accesses for regulation, for stability, for existence that does not disintegrate under stimulus. Magnetic men do not execute increase, they execute reduction, yet with purpose. They vocalize minimally, witness increase, anticipate, for they possess knowledge. Quietness possesses increased authority than countless words. That an interval fabricates increased strain than any discourse, and that in limitation exists the solution to everything, and comprehend this transparently. This is not regarding suppressing emotions, yet commanding them, permitting them to exist without permitting them to direct you. For when a woman examines you, it is not to eliminate you, it is to possess knowledge whether she can rely on you emotionally. She's calculating whether you can direct emotionally. And that is why she dispatches destabilizing indicators, not for you to respond, yet for you to demonstrate regulation. So subsequent time she observes you, do not respond, respire. Subsequent time she displays pleasure, do not experience excitement, witness. Subsequent time she contacts your limb, do not presume, possess constancy. For every feminine movement is not an attempt to satisfy you, it is a verification to perceive if you can direct the movement without forfeiting yourself in the cadence. That is the mystery. She desires to experience that you can restrain her force without requiring it, that you can long for her without pursuing her, that you can possess her visual connection without fracturing the quietness. For genuine longing does not reside in what is articulated, it resides in what is restrained. In the man who does not yield to the stimulus, yet transforms it into magnetic strain, Machiavelli comprehended that authority is a concern of recognition. It was never regarding possessing strength, yet appearing to possess it. In the challenge of attraction, this concept becomes an instrument. For feminine longing does not respond to the man who compels. It responds to the man who transmits, the man who, without stating anything, without requesting, without demonstrating, already exists. The most significant authority is the imperceptible one, the one that never declares itself, the one that never vocalizes. It is the regulation of the environment, the manner you access a space and the circumstance transforms, the category of existence that does not pursue yet draws in. And that is not constructed through compelled exertion, it is nurtured through self-command. A man who controls the environment does not require to contact for her to sense him, does not require to vocalize for her to absorb him. His manner of movement, respiration, witnessing, transforms the emotional dynamic because everything in him transmits one thing, protection. Machiavelli would declare that this man comprehends human character, that he possesses knowledge. Individuals are directed by impulses, emotions, and reflexes, and that whoever regulates those impulses, without suppressing them, governs the challenge without ever elevating his vocalization in the domain of attraction. That signifies you do not pursue feminine force. You permit it, you witness it, you sense it, and when it materializes, you do not accelerate it, you restrain it. For genuine authority is not in securing it, yet in possessing it. A woman can sense whether a man is balanced or performing. She can detect the distinction between existence and tactics, between genuineness and methodology. And when she identifies the initial, her physical form responds. Not her consciousness, her physical form. Commanding the environment is mastering to control the emotional cadence of the interaction, possessing knowledge when to vocalize, and when to remain wordless, when to advance and when to withdraw, when to possess a visual connection and when to permit her to advance. It is an intricate equilibrium between stability and area, between force and vacancy. This category of regulation is never hostile, never theatrical. It is wordless, magnetic. It is the capacity to charge an area with your force without requiring to operate, to render her experience witnessed without experiencing transgressed, to fabricate a strain that neither overpowers nor dissolves. The mystery exists in the tempo, in establishing the cadence, for whoever establishes the cadence directs, and in attraction, directing is not compelling. It is instructing with force. It is existing so conscious of your physical form, your tone, your quietnesses, that everything you execute becomes a communication. Most men desire to operate rapidly, desire to secure, desire certainty. Yet the feminine does not function like that. The feminine requires area to flourish. And when the environment is substantial yet restrained, when strain exists without apprehension, she calms. And when she calms, she yields. Machiavelli vocalized regarding governing the timing, not accelerating, possessing knowledge how to anticipate the correct instant, implementing force solely when the outcome is guaranteed. Implemented to attraction that signifies possessing knowledge how to possess the enigma, not disclosing everything, not eliminating the uncertainty. For what nourishes feminine longing most is regulated uncertainty. I do not possess knowledge what occurs to me with him. I cannot completely interpret him. That instability initiates the emotional consciousness and preserves it occupied. Genuine authority does not originate from regulating others. It originates from commanding yourself in the existence of others. And when you exist before a woman you long for, your capacity to remain unmoved by her appearance, her stimulus, her proximity, that is what distinguishes the average man from the indelible man. Imperceptible regulation is the capacity to vocalize with your physical form beyond with your vocalization, to transmit protection without superiority, to release longing without requirement. And when you execute that, she senses it. She does not comprehend why. She simply possesses knowledge that something in you attracts her, and that is authority. Just as Machiavelli's ruler mastered to utilize recognition to his benefit, you must master to utilize your force as a wordless announcement. For in the conclusion, It does not concern what you vocalize, it concerns how you render her experience. And if your environment transmits control, tranquility, and transparency, her physical form will respond long before her consciousness executes. This is not exploitation, it is purpose. When your existence is stable yet calm, when your physical form does not pursue yet witnesses, when your force is substantial yet restrained, you fabricate an emotional domain she detects without comprehending. And that is the foundation where genuine attraction is generated. And if you can possess that domain without fracturing it, without accelerating it, without attempting to regulate the outcome, then you become the category of man who designates a before and after. For the average man impacts, the magnetic man transforms the environment. Even in quietness, even without contact, even without announced purpose. A woman senses she is confronting a distinct category of man, not because he executes something exceptional, yet because his very force transmits, I am here. I am in regulation, I require nothing, yet I sense everything. And that category of restrained, uncertain, constant existence renders a woman not solely engaged, yet yielded. For her nervous mechanism interprets that environment as constancy, as authority, as longing without constraint. This is how you control an area without vocalizing. This is how you transform a space into your platform. And this is how, without language, you emerge her most profound gut feeling. For as Machiavelli instructed, the genuine director does not require to persuade. He solely requires to exist with such intensity that everything surrounding him modifies. Exists a distinction between perceiving indicators and translating purposes. Most men interpret movements. Magnetic men interpret realities, for they comprehend feminine physical expression is not a mystery encryption, yet a wordless admission. And the physical form does not solely transmit what a woman senses for you, it transmits what she senses regarding herself. When a woman corrects her locks, it is not perpetually flirtation. It can be apprehension, it can be longing, it can be the requirement to reclaim regulation. When she observes you, and then observes away, it is not dismissal, it is fragility, strain, the movement between what she desires and what she fears. And the man who does not comprehend responds with rational thought. The man who comprehends responds with existence. The interpretation that transforms everything is not identifying movements, it is identifying environments. It is perceiving what exists behind the operation. It is registering how her respiration modifies to yours, how her vocalization softens, how she inclines toward you by a fraction. All of that is longing before longing, attraction before contact. And if you acknowledge it, you can possess it, you can amplify it. Yet exercise caution. This interpretation does not provide you the authorization. It provides you accountability. For the man who comprehends feminine longing does not utilize it to extract something. He utilizes it to fabricate something, strain, closeness, linkage. And all of that initiates with your personal physical form. For if you cannot interpret your personal indicators, if you do not regulate your force, you cannot possess hers. Respire more gradually, vocalize more softly, operate your physical form minimally, sense the instant increase. That not solely renders you more magnetic, it renders you more aware. For now you comprehend that attraction is not regarding vocalizing, it is regarding absorbing quietness, not regarding impacting, yet regarding possessing focus, not regarding pursuing a response, yet regarding preserving your orientation. When a man possesses his structure, his respiration, and his existence in the center of an emotional interaction, he becomes scarce. And scarcity is magnetic, for she is accustomed to men who disintegrate in the existence of her appearance, men who modify, accelerate, forfeit regulation. Yet you do not, you persist. And in that persistence, genuine attraction is generated, not because she comprehends who you exist, yet because she senses something she cannot clarify. And the more inexplicable it exists, the more influential it becomes, for the consciousness can disregard the evident, yet the physical form cannot disregard what it senses. You are not one additional. You are not here to duplicate configurations, you are here to fracture them, to represent a force she does not interact every day, a force that does not compel, does not request, does not require, yet is profoundly present. And that existence is not mastered, it is nurtured, refined, prepared. And in that aware practice of witnessing, respiring, possessing yourself, you become a reflection of something she cannot regulate. For when a woman is drawn to something she cannot clarify, cannot exploit, cannot categorize, her physical form responds, her consciousness hesitates, her self-importance withdraws, and her gut feeling combusts. You are not attempting to be comprehended. You are producing an emotional occurrence, a resonance, an emotional strain that exists without a word, and the more wordless you exist, the more it amplifies, the more you restrain, the more you intensify. For in a world abundant with stimuli, the one who does not operate becomes the balance. The error is presuming emotional linkage requires language. No, genuine linkage occurs in instants when nobody vocalizes. Yet everything is sensed, in the extended interval, in the positioning of constant visual connections, in the manner physical forms acknowledge each other without contacting. That is the movement few comprehend, yet now you perceive it. So if you desire to be indelible, do not vocalize what everyone else can vocalize. Render her experience what nobody else has rendered her experience. And that is solely accomplished when your force is so synchronized, so stable, so restrained, that she cannot cease sensing you even when you are departed. That is the interpretation that transforms the challenge. You do not attract with language, you attract with existence. You do not secure with rational thought, you secure with tranquility. And most significantly, it is not regarding persuading her of anything. It is regarding reminding her that what she is sensing is genuine, and if you have progressed this far, you cannot unperceive what you have perceived. For now you comprehend that everything was in transparent visibility, that what appeared enigmatic was simply absence of focus, that what appeared dismissal was merely an examination, and that what appeared confusion was misinterpreted longing. The physical form never deceives, and now you possess knowledge how to interpret it. You have traversed a threshold and you cannot reverse. For what you possess, knowledge transforms you, and what you perceive compels you to function with increased accuracy, increased purpose, increased self-regulation. For the man who perceives transparently does not simply cease existing exploited, he becomes a benchmark, he becomes a director. And that category of man is scarce, yet when he materializes, he transforms the dynamics, transforms the force, transforms everything. So, if this rendered you perceive something you could not perceive before, do not disregard it. For what you perceive transforms who you exist. Subscribe as a channel participant to access exclusive material, and examine my other channel where we vocalize regarding Machiavelli, currency, and how to become shrewd, influential, and prosperous. For knowledge without implementation is ornamentation, yet the man who functions from transparency becomes an impossible force to disregard.